So who do you think had the best 2024 NFL offseason so far in the NFC East? Well, we're going to go ahead and review that division for you right here on Tim Reynolds Show. Welcome, everybody. We're going to start out with the Dallas Cowboys. Now, so far this season, they've had a lot more players that they've not re-signed or let go than people than they have re-signed. We're talking about probably one of the most smallest offseasons so far for any team. As far as players that are no longer with the Dallas Cowboys, running back Tony Pollard, wide receiver Michael Gallup, offensive tackle Tyron Smith, edge rusher Deontay Fowler, defensive tackle Jonathan Hankins, cornerback Stephon Gilmore, and safety Javon Curse. So a bunch of defensive pieces that they're really going to have to replace, and a couple on the offense so far. As far as their moves they were able to do in this free agency period, not much to report other than cornerback Jordan Lewis signs on a year deal, and linebacker Eric Kendricks signed a 1-year deal for the Dallas Cowboys, and that's about it. There's not very many moves that the Dallas Cowboys have made so far. There has been rumors that they're trying to re-sign a bunch of their main players like CeeDee Lamb, Michael Parsons, and trying to hopefully work out a contract situation with Dak Prescott, but that also could be up in the air, and looks like it might be Dak Prescott's last year in Dallas. But with the rankings that they had last year, they ranked 3rd in pass and 14th in rushing offense. So offense was pretty good last year. I'm wondering if they're going to be able to get that running game back up and going like they had it a couple of years ago, because it definitely wasn't the same last year, even though it was ranked in the top 15. As far as their defense goes, they were ranked top 5 against the pass and 16th against the run. Defense is very, very good for this team for the past couple of years, but with their defensive coordinator Dan Quinn leaving to become the head coach of the Washington Commanders, I really imagine that it's going to be a bit of a struggle with this defense, but they did sign veteran coach Mike Zimmerman to come in and coach this defense. So hopefully Dallas Cowboy fans can look and see about winning this division again, and hopefully be able to take their team even further in the playoffs. But with these offseason moves, who knows? As far as their draft needs go, their draft needs are going to be offensive tackle, running back, interior offensive lineman, defensive tackle, and wide receiver. Now they have a lot of experts have them going more offense than defense. Obviously, you could tell with their draft needs here. So hopefully we'll be able to get a bunch of really good updates and really good moves for the Dallas Cowboys after the draft to see how their team pans out. Up next is the New York Giants. As far as guys that are no longer with the team, guys released it or no longer re-signed: running back Saquon Barkley, wide receiver Sterling Shepard, quarterback Tyrod Taylor, and cornerback Adoree Jackson and Xavier McKinney, safety, also did not re-sign. As far as players they were able to get this free agency period, not too bad for the New York Giants, as they were able to trade for linebacker edge rusher Brian Burns from the Carolina Panthers. Huge pickup for them. They were able to get Burns on a new extension as well, so he stays with the team for a little while. And then they also were able to get running back Devin Singletary. They also signed cornerback Jalen Mills to a 1-year deal. Offensive guard Aaron Stinnie, wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie, and quarterback Drew Lock also signs a 1-year deal with the team, as they were also able to re-sign linebacker Simmons earlier as well. That's their latest move so far for the Giants. Now, I don't know what they're going to be doing here as far as their draft needs go. As far as their rankings last year, they were ranked 31st in the pass, pretty much one of the worst in the whole entire league, and 16th in rushing. So I imagine they're going to try to focus on getting that passing game back up to the top 15 so they can be competitive on offense, because they really weren't last year. As far as their defensive rankings, they were ranked 19th in the pass and 29th in the rush. So all around, this defense needs to be improved and play a lot better than it did last year. But as far as their draft needs go, wide receiver, quarterback, running back, safety, and possibly quarterback as well. So cornerback, quarterback, both important positions, I think, for this team looking in the NFL draft. You could see them sneak up and maybe draft a quarterback with the rumors that are going on right now, but I see them more going for that defensive backfield with either a safety or cornerback in their early rounds of the draft. But don't rule out wide receiver or running back. Obviously, with Saquon Barkley gone, they got to fill that void. Even though they signed Devin Singletary, I really do think they might look in the draft to get a little bit more depth there. And wide receiver is just full of prospects so far in this year's 2024 draft. So deep in that particular position. So they could definitely look at it to add there. As far as the next team up is the Philadelphia Eagles. Notable players that are no longer with the team. Center Jason Kelsey retired this offseason. So there goes a legend, a future Hall of Famer that'll be no longer with the team. Also defensive tackle Fletcher Cox is going to be no longer with the team as he also retires. Notable other players that are no longer with the team: linebacker Shaquille Leonard, Zach Cummings, also safety Kevin Byard, who they traded for last year. Running back DeAndre Swift did also sign with the Bears, so he's no longer on the team. As far as guys they were able to get this offseason, they made a big splash with running back Saquon Barkley as he signs a 3-year deal with the team. They were also able to get offensive guard Landon Dickerson signed to a 4-year extension. Not to mention they were also able to get a couple of really good pass rushers as they were able to re-sign Brandon Graham to another 1-year deal, so he stays with the team. And then edge rusher Bryce Huff gets a 3-year deal as he comes from the New York Jets and joins the Philadelphia Eagles on that big contract. And they also were able to get safety CJ Gardner-Johnson. He comes back after 1 year of not being with the team, being with the Lions. He comes and he signs a 3-year deal to come back with the Eagles. And not only that, they also traded for a quarterback. His quarterback Kenny Pickett from the Pittsburgh Steelers gets traded from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia, and now we have a new backup quarterback in Philadelphia. Now, as far as their rankings last year, they were 16th in the passing offense, 8th in the rushing offense. Not too bad for this offense overall, but we all know how it faltered at the end of last season. Near the end of the season, they just couldn't find any consistency on this offense. As far as their defensive rankings, they were 31st in the pass and 10th in rushing defense. Not very, very good at all on that defensive secondary, so they're really going to try to improve that, I think, in this year's draft. As far as their needs go, they're looking at possibly cornerback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, and safety. I really do think they're going to focus more on the defensive side of the ball and try to get more playmakers in that secondary so this defense can be more competitive next year, but don't rule out wide receiver because it's so much depth at wide receiver in this 2024 draft, as we mentioned before. Last team we're going to go over is the Washington Commanders. You got a new change in leadership as Ron Rivera was fired by the Commanders last season. Dan Quinn, as I mentioned earlier, comes in as the new offensive coach, new head coach for the Washington Commanders, hopefully to try to get this offense turned around, and we already know how good Dan Quinn is at coaching defense. Now, as far as players that are no longer there, looking at cornerback Sam Howell was traded to the Seahawks. Also, cornerback Jacoby Brissett did not re-sign with the team. Running back Antonio Gibson, wide receiver Curtis Samuels, tight end Logan Thomas, and cornerback Kendall Fuller, who signed a deal with the Miami Dolphins. Now, as far as guys they were able to get this offseason, not too bad as far as the other teams in this division. I think they actually did pretty good themselves to be able to improve their team. Running back Austin Eckler signs a 2-year deal with the team. They were also able to sign linebacker Bobby Wagner, edge rusher Deontay Fowler, and also Clelin Ferrell, another good edge rusher. Not to mention they were able to get QB Marcus Mariota signed on a 1-year deal, and also tight end Zach Ertz. So they've really addressed both sides of the ball. I like the signings overall for this team. I think it improves them based on where they were last year. Can't get much worse, honestly. As far as their offensive rankings, they were ranked 18th in the pass, 27th in rushing offense. And their defense, they were ranked 32nd in the pass, dead last as far as defending the pass, and then 22nd in rushing defense. So defense has got to be the priority. That's no wonder they went with Dan Quinn as their head coach for the future. They need to be able to get this defense playing really, really good all-pro caliber. Otherwise, they may not be able to compete in this division with the other teams. Philadelphia is still looking good. The Cowboys still have a pretty good roster, even though they've had one of the smallest and quite frankly, one of the weakest off seasons of any team so far. But it'll be interesting to see who's able to compete in this division with a lot of change going on. As far as their draft needs go, the Washington Commanders are going to be looking at quarterback. With them having the top 5 pick, you could definitely see them taking a quarterback with that. But there are also rumors that they could be trading that pick as well. So we're definitely going to keep our eyes on what the Commanders are going to do, because with them and the Bears, it's going to pretty much determine how the rest of the draft goes with what they're doing. As far as the other offensive needs they have besides quarterback, offensive tackle, edge rusher, cornerback, and wide receiver. Again, wide receiver is there's a lot of depth at wide receiver in this draft, so really count on them to focus on that position as well. But they're probably going to go ahead and do the quarterback in the first round unless they trade back. So you've really got to watch to see what the Commanders do in the draft this year. It'll be interesting to see what new leadership Dan Quinn does with his draft moves and all his draft picks this year. So guys, that's the NFC East. We went and reviewed a whole offseason so far and all their draft needs. Be sure to check out Tim Reynolds Show and all my other videos on the other divisions as we go through the rest of the NFC East. I've already done all the AFC, so please check it out. Please check out as we go through the rest of the NFC. I should say I've already done all the AFC. Thank you guys for all the support for the channel. I appreciate you guys. Always love. Peace out, everybody. Have a great day.